Hi, folks. This is Aiden's Lutric CMT Trader Market Technician CryptoBirb talking to you straight from Ediseta, Portugal. Beautiful coastline around the ocean. This is incredible sunny place, and from this sunny place, I'm sending all the best love to you guys because this is Friday webinar, and we just closed January. As January goes, so goes the year. This is the traditional stock market saying, that some wise people said and figure it out. I'm talking about Jeff Hirsch. Good shout out to Jeffrey Hirsch, who is actually the godfather of seasonal studies, and a man who, alongside his father, popularized this term very much. And well, February is an average positive month, right? It averages out to approximately 13% gain on the historical level for the last 14 years. And there's a lot to be discussed because the 2024 is a year of opportunities. We've got a halving coming up, and it all translates to the anticipation and to the demand, to the potential supply shock in a way, and the way that the crowds react to that, right? Because we're going to have the scarcity boost, digital scarcity boost, because the mining difficulty is going to rise, right? The halving means that each and every single block is going to pay off, half of the previous fees, right? So miners are going to earn half less money, right? It's going to be more and more increasingly incrementally difficult to mine the same amount of Bitcoin. This drives the scarcity. This drives the potential demand per unit, right? Because if there's less of it, psychologically we wanted more. And maybe this is what explains why the prices have been on such a rise over the last couple of months and couple of good weeks overall, except for local slowdown. So what we know is, the Bitcoin has almost touched $50,000 on the last recent basis. Around the ETF approval, kind of like a news. When there is, again, buy the rumor, sell the news, we actually do it without realizing why it works, and it's quite an interesting stuff to track. Still, 200-day moving average is climbing. $44,000 is the arbitrary level used as a benchmark, as a long-term point of reference. So if it is above, Bitcoin is bullish. If it is below, Bitcoin is less bullish. However, more importantly, it's the direction of the 200-day moving average that persistently is maintained over long term, right? If it maintains and persists, this is what defines the bull market or bear market overall. So 45,000 has been the main point of the range, if you will. Quite a deep and volatile whipsaws on top. 49,000 on the big 38,500 just on the bottom. False breakouts on both, right? False breakout on top, false breakouts on the bottom. False breakouts, or the specialist breakout, if you will. Now they trap the liquidity, right? They trap everybody who's kind of like found themselves on the breakout there and held onto it eventually, right? And knowing that there's this breaking of this level, to the downside, is going to kind of like trigger a lot of stop losses. This may be used in advantage in favor of the opposing force, right? Which could kind of like hands those traders down, right? If they stay for too long in that region. Which is why a lot of false breakouts, specialist breakouts tend to perform better in the opposite direction than initially anticipated. And interestingly enough, the seasonal facts, and shout out again to Almanac Trader, to Jeffrey Hirsch, 2024 is a strong election year candidate, right? So 12.8% aggregated average return in the election year when the setup is replicated, when the current president is running for the re-election, and this happens to be with Joe Biden, apparently. And this translates to more market certainty or less market uncertainty. Less market uncertainty means more likelihood, more ease, or freedom to deploy bigger amount of risk, bigger amount of capital, right? This translates to bigger risk appetite, and this translates to bigger speculation, and the price is proven higher than on average 9% annualized return for the S&P 500, 9-10%. 12.8 is quite a distinct 20%, almost 30% outperformance, quite a thing to be acknowledged. Although otherwise, February is 13.87% on average, and taken the historical data from the Seasonex, right, measured from since 2010, the first listing in 2010, all the way until 2024, on February 1st all the way to April 15, we can tell that there's a positive tendency. There's positive tendency with 185%, almost 185% annualized return, just a little bit on top of it. 61% of the time, the pattern being up and winning, and the average return is over 23%, which means that if we add this 23% to our anticipation, overall, right? This is the 23% from the opening price of the February 1st. This is what we're looking at, right? So 42,500 added 23% on top of that puts us in the $52,000 as the average target, as the average goal. Well, is this gonna fulfill? I have no idea to claim that. I have no idea to see into the future. Still, it's something at least worth consideration, worth considering, because it's based on numbers, it's based on facts, it's based on evidence, hard proof numbers, raw data. That is difficult to argue with. Quick shout out to everybody who commits and shows up every day, because trading is difficult. Trading is difficult. Losing money is very easy. Making money in this market is very difficult. And only traders who really persist, who manage to learn and to improve and to educate themselves on how to master their own behavioral biases, how to overcome the market obstacles, and um, how to beat the market and how to beat most of the traders. It's very difficult job. So shout out to you guys. And a shout out to our partners at NordVPN, who we actually just announced a new partnership, new collaboration with, and they are very generous. They're giving a special discount coupon for everybody who's watching this very particular video. And you're going to have a special video description link inside of this video description. And this link gives you 70% discount, and a 4-month extra on top of that with the access in the link. And why I've been using that for many years, even before we partner up. So, which is why I can confirm that there's a lot of quality, a lot of seamless, a lot of very easy to use service, right? That gives you privacy, that gives you security. We need to keep ourselves secure as crypto traders, which is why you might want to consider hopping into video description link and grabbing your account. If I'm not mistaken, it's $3 per month, right? In order to keep yourself private, secured, and safe. Plus, you can watch some funny, streams and series that are unavailable in the country. So there's a lot of good points to consider. So shout out to our partners in NordVPN. And if we are to continue, long story short, what it translates to is, like I said, this $52,000 target, and it's not so crazy anymore if you think about that, right? $52,000 is not so crazy, because even Ethereum is kind of like, even though it's lagging just a little bit behind Bitcoin, right? If you compare, it's way closer to the 200-day moving average, right? The 200-day moving average, kind of like a distance, if you will, all the way to the current market price is about 18%. In terms of Bitcoin, it's going to be probably a little bit more. And to be exact, we're talking about 26%, 27%. So there's clear, distinct relative strength, leadership, and the local basis, not also, on the overall bottom to the local peak basis. 2023 performance, Bitcoin performed with almost 160% growth gain. At that time, Ethereum did somewhere close to 100, right? So there is quite a strong push in favor of the Bitcoin. Otherwise, we are still on track for the potential breakout target, right? Because there's this beautiful ascending triangle that kind of like keeps us floating above the 200-day moving average, and it's a bullish pattern on its own more often than not. And we've seen this positive breakout that kind of like topped out a little bit. And now, after the local slowdown, after the local corrective wave, from the very peak at 2700s, even above 2700s, all the way to 2100s, this gives us a perfect breakout and return, the breakout retest, if you will, to the previous zone of consolidation on a weekly basis, right? That happened to be 21 for 40. Right, so if we apply the measured rule principle, taking the 880 all the way to the base size to measure the size of the pattern to the 2140, this kind of like what gives us the anticipated target, the breakout target at $34,000. Well, it's not going to necessarily happen immediately overnight. It's still something to keep your eyes on, even though there might be many different reasons why it may or may not work. Still, if many people see exactly the same pattern, they're more likely to act upon it. They're more likely to encompass that and just use it, right? So overall, the fact that we are above the 200-day moving average that is rising, even though a little bit more sluggish fashion than Bitcoin, and maintaining and holding well above the 2140 right now, this kind of like puts a little bit of optimism into our trading styles, if you will, overall, because this is the directional drift is to the upside, and that's something to consider. which has been also very present with the 200-day baseline, 200-day Birb Pro baseline. That is one of our premium customer service strategies. Those profitable backtested toolkit for many different strategies that everybody can find and adapt their own. What it tells me is that we are in the local bearish tendency. There's a local bearish trend setup that wasn't present. That was only present before in September, right? In September, we kind of like got this breakout around, Jesus, that was $18, $20. We got this breakout confirmation, and we rallied from $18 all the way to 130, right? And it kind of like gave us a stop just closer to $100 right now. So a very powerful rally on one simple, very powerful trend that continued to be maintained over the long term. And what can I say? I have no idea what's going to happen in the future. Maybe it's going to break up, and just rush for 150. Maybe it's going to reject this local resistance at 104 points, 105 points, like it did locally, and return to the mean, right around. Just for the comparison, the $75 per coin. $75 is the local arbitrary level that the market is more likely going to be sensitive to, as long as we can get there, right? So we are in the resistance area, 105, 106 points, 104 points. It's something potentially to be careful and cautious, into longing just prematurely. This may cause the opposing force, and if it causes opposing force, the market can actually fluctuate to the local lows, which are gonna align well with the 200-day Birb Pro trend line, giving us support at around $75, right? Otherwise, the direction of the 200-day moving average is clearly to the upside. We're talking about very powerful trend again, $18 on a breakout here, and all the way to 130. This is very powerful rally. Well, what can I say? The long-term trends tend to persist, even though there is local slowdown. There might be local tertiary fluctuations, noise induced by a lot of news media, some manipulation. That's something that is something that is very unlikely to revert the long-term trends, right? Those long-term trends tend to persist as they are well maintained overall. Otherwise, AVAX is floating above the 200-day Pro baseline. However, there's much of a slowdown going on, right? The solid line is a 50-day moving average of the ATR. This is ATR, average terrain. So the volatility measure. The volatility measure tells us that this is $2.72 approximately $2.7 per coin of the volatility on average. That is giving us the width, the spread between the highs and the lows, right? Because we technicians, we do care about the trend velocity. If there is acceleration, the trend is going to be more volatile. The volatility is endorsing and trend promoting. The low volatility declining means the trend is over slowing down. And if the trend is slowing down, this translates to an overall more sideways oriented movements. So something to consider is that we are looking at this local mean reversion. There is some local correction, of course. If we zoom in, some people would say there is this beautiful bullish flag, which may or may not be true. This looks like a bullish flag, right? This looks like a bullish flag. Very powerful engagement to the upside right there on the breakout above the 200-day baseline. We are breaking just above this right now. If this breakout is supposed to be maintained, sustained, we may see more pressure, just maybe towards the new highs. Otherwise, the 200-day moving average from the Birb Pro is moving up, right? It's moving up, the Birb Pro by the Birb Nest. And finally, Chainlink. And needless to say, Chainlink has been skyrocketing just very lately. There's been some local choppy story, local choppy chapter that is just right now being annihilated, right? We're moving up on a quite aggressive basis. There's been a lot of catch up, with the 200-day Pro baseline. Otherwise, it's a continuation of a long-term trend. This long-term trend and long-term accumulation, those is the significant breakout all the way here, right? From approximately, let me actually just put the numbers over here, 9.5, right? That was 9.5, bottomed out at 5.3 approximately, right? Which is where the congestion of the lows is the biggest. There's some local whipsaw on the bottom. The markets are typically noisy at the bottom and on the top. There's a lot of volatility, a lot of false breakouts. This is how the tops and bottoms are created. Eventually, long-term accumulation was broken to the upside in November, in late October, November. That gave us this massive push towards $18, 18.72 right now as we speak. And the coin is breaking. The coin is breaking to the upside, right? The new highs are being made. The 200-day baseline is moving up, which confirms the bull market trend continues, even though there's been local slowdown. How do I know it's been a slowdown? Well, just maybe because if you take the very simple trend lines, you're gonna tell that the touch points, it used to be faster. It used to be more vertical, right? So when the trends kind of like slow down, this fan mechanism kind of like or accelerate, this tells us that the trend accelerates. If the new trend line needs to be redrawn and more aggressively, this tells us that the trend is accelerated. If the trend line needs to be redrawn and drawn again, on the slowing basis, and the trend line is broken and a new one needs to appear, then it tells us that the trend is slowing overall, right? So still powerful breakout from the October, November regions into the highs of 2023 that were just broken yesterday and today into the new levels. And those new levels, well, what can I say? This is a bull market, and this bull market has just gotten out of the consolidation that lasted 2-3 months. And we're breaking higher, right? There's nothing bearish about that. Of course, we need to wait for the daily close confirmation. However, that's what it seems that that might be the winning strategy, to bet on the trends continuation rather than on the trends reversals. This is the momentum principle that the outperforming traders, the outperforming trades are going to continue to outperform, that the outperforming assets will continue to outperform, and the underperforming assets will continue to underperform, right? And well, our job as traders is to spot as many of those as possible. Otherwise, quick news. We just closed the applications for our brand new project Inverse Prop Desk by the Birb Nest. The applications are closed, right? However, we are solving with that, a very, very incredibly important problem, because most of the prop desks are basically unregulated schemes. They are ripping you off high fees, evaluation fees. They call it evaluation fees. This should be called a robbery, basically, instead of evaluation fees. They'll expect you to be the world's best hedge fund managers in in the matter of days, and maintain the almost impossible to be maintained risk measures, all that to make you pay the fees. All right. And if you fail, even though you don't kind of necessarily, you may trade on the demo accounts, you still fail and you pay the fees, right? So you want to try and apply and again, and you have to pay again, and kind of give the money again, and you apply just to kind of sell, defend your ego that just got hurt. So they're ripping you off high money, and they're giving you very often no profit in return. And what we did with the inverse prop desk, with the TBN inverse prop desk, we actually reversed the mechanism of a typical prop firm scam. And we don't charge any fees. There's nothing we're going to charge you on. There's no entry fees, no evaluation fees, no risk basically whatsoever, because you're also going to be trading on the demo accounts with big thanks and shout out to our partner, to our strategic partner, now Nomad Fulcrum, who are the tokenized Swiss-based, fully regulated traditional finance hedge fund partner. And why are we doing this? Well, we're doing this because we partner up with this hedge fund in order to help them give more hedging, and we're going to create more hedging by having this internal inverse prop desk. And this is not going to charge anything to the people, right? And yet people are going to get all the equipment with the Birb Nest. They're going to have each and every single account, on the exclusive Nest Club. They're going to trade with demo account. Still, they're going to earn real capital money and real capital profit share, right? They're going to earn the salary from the Birb Nest. They're going to be contracted as official traders in the Birb Nest. They're going to train for 90 days in our program to master the stock indices, commodities, cryptos, which are coming soon. They're going to get access to exclusive Nest Club and Barbicator Pro, so the private community of ours that's been rolling since 2017 on a reliable basis. You're going to get the profitable strategy access, right? There are only 10 traders a month that we can allow, and all the seats are booked right now. And this fully regulated TradFi hedge fund partner, Nomad Fulcrum, the Swiss-based tokenized hedge fund, is a big habilitation as well to the Birb Nest. Because we're working with a hedge fund, and working with a hedge fund to on the very big mission to commit and provide more hedging to them is something that we are take pride in. And we're going to do it by executing the inverse prop desk trades, right? We're going to have the monthly statements, monthly transparency kind of like sessions. I mean, the transparency sessions are all day long. Still, it's going to be statement based and summarized based and report based every month. And those traders who actually, like I said, commit and meet the criteria and fulfill, even though there's no cost, they're going to get a contract, right? They're going to get a contract. You're going to get salary. You're going to get profit share from your capital provided by the hedge fund. Right, they're going to have access to exclusive Nest Club and Birb Pro. They're going to have access to our VIP community. They're going to have access to our VIP network for individual best deals and the best opportunities in the market, and all that comes with no fees. Right. So, well, this is quite a challenge for many traders to believe it. However, it's real, right? They do not commit. There's no fee, no cost, zero risk. You're trading on demo accounts for 90 days. So there is no chance you're going to lose because you're not trading with real money. Still, the Tokenized Hedge Fund, our fully regulated partners hedge fund, is actually taking some of those points and kind of like using this on real capital. That's giving us the revenue, that's giving us the revenue from the brokerage piece, that's giving us the revenue from the actual profit from the hedging. And that was pleaded with the hedge fund, and that's how you get money, right? This is full transparency. This is minimum 3-month requirement in terms of the trading experience required, and only 10 seats per month. All right now are taken. However, if you keep your eyes open, the next month, this month applications are going to open around 27th, 26th as well, to give you a couple of days to join our program. So feel free to go to the birbnest.com. And you're going to see a message, right, on the TBN Inverse Prop Desk. Feel free to look around, feel free to check it out. Just maybe if you like to get learn how to become a profitable trader at no cost in 90 days by just trading on demo accounts with no risk, with no cost, with no entry fees. Get all the tools, all the private VIP tools, all the private strategies, all the VIP access to our premium community. Get every single thing about the education that you need for 90 days. And then on top of that, if you succeed, if you just meet the criteria defined by the hedge fund, right, you're going to additionally get real money contract, real money salary, or real money profit share. No cost, no commitment, no risk, and yet you're going to make money on it if you commit. It sounds interesting. Well, that's something to consider at thebirbnest.com. Otherwise, I've been your host, Adrian Zlichik, CMT Charter Market Technician, CryptoBirb. All the greetings and love from Portugal, sunny, shiny, etc. Much love, and I'll talk to you soon. See you around. Bye-bye. God bless.